Timelines are a simple tool that can be used in the classroom to help students visualize a specific tense of a verb or to compare the difference between two similar or related tenses. Timelines are particularly useful for remedial work, when a student is having problems understanding a tense's position in time, or for concept checking, to check that the students understand a tense's position in time. A timeline is just a simple graph with a vertical line which represents now and a horizontal line which goes to the left and represents the past through to the right where it represents the future. Simple timelines have just three legends. An X represents a single event. A curvy line represents a continuous activity, an ing verb. A rectangle represents a block of time. Let's have a look at this sentence. I lived in Lima for 6 months. We could illustrate that using the timeline as follows. We use a block symbol to show a period in time. At some point in the past, I lived in Lima for 6 months. To make it clearer, you could label the block like this. Let's compare that with this sentence. I've lived in Lima for 6 months. We could illustrate this on the timeline as follows. I'm still living in Lima, so that means I arrived 6 months ago. If this month is June, then that means I arrived in January. We can put dates on the timeline because although the sentence did not directly mention the dates, the sentence does specify them indirectly. On the other hand, with the sentence, I lived in Lima for 6 months, the dates for when I lived in Lima aren't defined. I said I lived in Lima for 6 months. I am no longer living in Lima. It was in the past, but I haven't said when, and the tense does not specify it. All we know is that it was sometime in the past, so we cannot put dates on the timeline. Timelines are good at helping students visualize more complex sentences. This sentence, for example, is a lot for a student to quickly understand. When I got home, my wife had gone out. The student has to hear it, remember what was said, and try to analyze it. Drawing a timeline helps a student to understand the tenses and the meaning of the sentence right away. We use a cross to represent single events or actions, and in this sentence there are 2 actions, so 2 crosses are needed. The sentence is describing a past action that happened before another action in the past. My wife left before I got home. Let's have a look at another complex sentence. When I was crossing the street, I saw the accident. We use a curvy line to illustrate a continuous action. When I was crossing the street, which is interrupted by a cross to represent a single event. I saw the accident. I can use a dotted curvy line to illustrate that I probably continued crossing the street after I saw the accident. Here is another sentence using more advanced grammar. By 2020, I will have been working here for 12 years. This sentence refers to the past, present, and future. So, if we are in the year 2013 now, we could draw a block of time from 2008 in the past up to 2020 in the future. To make it clearer for the students, you could put the years on the timeline, as they were inferred in the sentence. The thing to remember is that you should only use timelines if they are going to be useful to the student, if they are going to help the student visualize the tense. Look at this sentence. I love chocolate. Can we use timelines to illustrate this? Well, the answer is no, we can't. I love chocolate all the time. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, in the morning and afternoon. These types of verbs, called state verbs, such as like, love, believe, cannot be illustrated by a timeline, as there is no specific action to point to. I hope you found this presentation useful. Now take a look at your learning manual. You'll see some homework for you to do.